No voice, Nori. Nope. Ooh.
Augie, why don't you open the show?
Now
Augie,
we can hear you.
you can hear me now. All right, guys. So sorry. Welcome, everybody, to Broadcast Team Alpha, where we bring you cutting edge conversation while exploring the quantum possibilities. And we are so going there tonight. We are so excited. Augie's going to tell you about our special guest. Before we get started, I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for being in the chat room. Thank you for supporting our channel. Thank you for your super chats. And we'd like to invite you to join us on Sunday afternoon. It's 2 p.m. Eastern for a manifesting meditation. What do you want to see happen in the world? What do you want to see happen for your family, your friends, your loved ones, maybe your personal health? We come together for those specific intentions and we have beautiful imagery while we go into the meditative state. We meet in the quantum realm, and amazing things happen. Not only that, but we have conversations about things from near-death experience to light language to, oh my goodness, to maybe even radionics. Not really. Tonight we're going to talk about that. So I just want to do a shout out to our friends over at the Conscious Awakening Network. All kinds of amazing things are going on over there, including us. We're streaming over there and on 40 other platforms. So go over there and say hi and see what's going on. And Augie, without any further ado, please tell us about our guest.
Oh yes, this is going to be fun. And in fact, it's going to be so interesting that it's going to be a learning experience for me because I have dabbled with some of the things that we're going to talk about. And I am absolutely in support of what we're going to hear tonight because I have seen some results that we were experimenting with 25, 30 years ago. And there's a science behind this, in not one that is not very well understood, but we're going to know more after tonight because Dr. Brad Mulder is with us. And Dr. Mulder is one of the most prolific manufacturer of radionic devices in the world. He is an inventor with multiple patents. He started studying radionics about 15 years ago, and he is now providing knowledge and instruments that everybody can afford to take their power back and change their reality in the same way as a $2 to $5 billion quantum computer can do. And this one, everybody can afford. So, and that is, they are changing the fabric of our reality by interacting mind and matter, the matter being the device. So you're going to listen really close tonight because this is something you can do. Just sink back into the chair and grab a cup of coffee and stay with us to the end on this one because your life will be better for it. And in the title of this show, I used the word quantum computer. Yeah, let me qualify that a little bit. Now, Elon Musk and Google, they spent, I don't exactly know what the number is, but somewhere between $3 to $5 billion creating their quantum computer. The biggest part of the cost and the machinery that fills the whole room is a technology by freezing or taking out all heat and energy so you cannot interject your mind into the machine. This is totally different, the other side of the coin. Here, the mind is what runs the machine. Now, when you think about that, think about quantum mechanics because that's what we have to lean on. They say that everything in the universe is connected through a subsystem space, connection, grid, or an energy field. Now, if you're connected to something, you have access to it and you can manipulate it, you can use it, you can bring it out of the quantum existence into your physical existence so you can enjoy it. And we're going to find out tonight how we can do that. And it works. So, gosh, I've been talking too much. Welcome to the show, Brad.
Welcome, Dr. Mulder.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation. I do appreciate it. Yeah, I'm a bit of a hermit, and so when I get a chance to talk, I love to run my mouth. Okay, so if I if you need to interject or step in, please, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Okay, that's just
Yeah,
I'm okay. But
yeah. I I know you're saying a hermit. I know how that works. If somebody nailed the door shut here, I wouldn't discover that for another day and a half, probably.
Same here. Same here. You know, I like me more than anybody I know. So I got so anyway. But all kidding aside, this thing is radionics. It changed my life. It truly did. And I guess we can start this from the beginning of how I got involved in this, and I'll try to
Yeah,
keep it as brief as possible. Back around 15, 16 years ago, well, it was closer to 16 years ago, our mutual friend here, Joshua P. Warren, had a webinar on the wishing machine. And I thought, well, that's intriguing because I heard about this guy. I didn't know Josh at the time. I just knew him from coast to coast and from his local show that he did on the radio in Asheville, North Carolina. And that's how I was. That's my only connection to Josh. But he was talking about this. He's going to talk radionics and the wishing machine. And the reason why I thought radionics because years earlier, back when my daughter was 3 years old, we were, and before, about that time, Art Bell, when he was on Coast to Coast, he was talking to a gentleman by the name of Preston Nichols out of Montauk, who claimed to be a chief electrical electronic engineer over at Montauk. He's the guy that kept the lights on during all their experiments and that kind of a thing. And a guy called in talking about this strange device from a book called by I think it was G. Harry Stein called "Mind Machines You Can Build." And he started talking about this very same thing about you could use it to for agriculture. I think the USDA was using it to for insect control out in some wheat fields or something like that out in the Midwest or something along that line. And uh, and so he's the caller was talking to Preston Nichols and telling him a little bit more about it. It says they call it the wishing machine. And Preston Nichols said, "That sounds like a radionics device." That was the very first time I ever heard the word radionics in 1993. And so, oh yeah, exactly. So I was getting back to my daughter. She and I we were walking around this bookstore, and I looked around these, those sort of books. It was sort of a discount bookstore, and there it was, Mind Machines You Can Build by G. Harry Stein. I immediately bought that book. I read it from cover to cover, and I was looking at this wishing machine thing, and it didn't really resonate with me because I thought, this is a bunch of hokum pokum, whatever. But like I said, years later, when 9 or 10 years later, I still have this book to this day within about 3 feet of me. Within 9 or 10 years later, we have Joshua P. Warren saying, wishing machine webinar. Sign on up, and I did. And he mentioned a guy by the name of Charles Casamano. And Charles Casamano, even though he's a bit of a bad boy, a little bit of a ne'er do well in the community, they don't like him very well because he was a magician, and I accept all that. I don't agree with a lot of his beliefs, but the man was a genius when it came to radionics. He knew how to take something that was perceived as being complicated and bring it down to a simple level where the average person could do this. Okay. And that's where from the webinar, Joshua P. Warren mentions this book, Elementary Psionics. I immediately look on the internet. It was a free PDF file. I immediately downloaded the file for the book, read it from cover to cover, and I had basic instructions for basic radionics devices in there. Nothing like what I build, but it would get you in the game. And I built my very first radionics device 12 hours after that. Yeah, it was within 12 hours after after that webinar. I went to Radio Shack in the morning. Got all the all the parts, everything like that, and built this thing. I think within 12 to 24 hours after that webinar with Joshua P. Warren. And from there, my life has never been the same.
Dr. Mulder, just for the, I call them crayon questions,
Sure.
for those of us who are new to this, what is radionics? How would
Okay,
you define?
great. Sure. Great question, by the way. I look at it as a tool. It's an extension of your consciousness. The way I look at things, you probably heard, The Secret or whatever, and energy flows where your
Attention
thought
goes.
goes, where action goes, and that kind of a thing. Yeah, and we've heard all this, and and I agree with you. It's all about mindset. And you can think you're having a great day, or you think you're having a bad day. You're right either way. You're right either way. It's your attitude about it, and so that means that your mind has a lot to do with what happens in this reality. Well, radionics is a tool. Imagine thinking about something constantly, 24/7, over and over again, and injecting energy toward that thought. What that will do with reality, the way it's set up, it will start to tilt toward that intent. It will start to make the variables more to that becoming a reality or a part of this physical reality. And that's what these machines are. Once you tune them, you're projecting your thought, your intent into the machine, and it is projecting that thought and that intent into this reality 24/7. And as a result of that, it's hacking into this reality, making things happen that normally would not happen.
So
Wow.
it's yeah, it seems to me that it is a mind matter interface machine where the mind is directing the matter because thoughts are things. There are
Correct.
electric impulses from the
Mhm.
from the brain, and there are magnetic impulses from the brain in the heart. Those two are paired and go into the machine and create an image so that
Mhm.
when we quit thinking about it, the machine keeps the image and transmitting and transmitting, so it becomes repetition, so to speak, that has a bigger impact on the universe. Am I close on this one?
I would say you are correct. I envision these machines when you inject a thought into the circuitry. Okay, what's going to happen is it's going to go around and around and around. It's going to cycle over and over and over again. And as it does,
Yeah.
it's like a snowball going downhill. It becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's projecting this thought directly 24/7, 7 days a week toward a target or toward a thing that you want to happen. And I've tried the gambit of what can be done with these machines. And I think, yeah, there's certain things that you probably can't change, like the laws of gravity, for example. The sun, or the Earth spinning, orbiting around the sun, things like that. It's kind of hard to change. You might be able to do it, but it's a that's a major project. But the thing is, when it comes to basic things in life, these little, like how am I going to come up with the money to make that credit card payment, or will my child get in the right school, or will I find the one that loves me, and that kind of a thing. Many different, human things that go along in the life of human beings. Radionics has will actually help you make these things become a reality. It will, like, again, what it does, it takes all these many variables that are spreading out and concentrates them toward a goal or your intent. And
I think
Wow.
go ahead.
I think also when we're thinking about a quantum computer, those are mostly made for calculations, solving problems, and a few other things, I suppose. This wishing machine or the radionic computer, you can do more with that. You can heal people at a distance. Let's say your brother has been a lush all his life and he got a bad liver. He live in, let's say, in Bulgaria. You get a
Okay.
picture of your brother and a healthy liver, put that in the well and leave it there, and that from about 9,000 miles away, that will affect your brother and start healing his liver. Now,
Y-
I don't know if they can do that with a regular quantum computer, but I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
So
Well,
this
here's
is
the thing.
different. It,
Yes, it
it
is.
reaches into the quantum and pulled energy in form of what you have imagined and what you have in the well on the computer to transmit. So it's a little different.
Yes, it is. And again, it's all about the human mind. You know, the operator is the most important part of a radionics device. Okay, it's garbage in, garbage out. It's just like a computer. Okay, and so if you're focused, and I'll have to stay focused on something. Whenever I tune a machine, all I vision, I don't really care about the journey. I'm not concerned about the journey. All I'm concerned about is the destination. I look at the end results. What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? And I have that in my mind. And I only need it there for about 15 seconds. So you can have a short attention span and make these things work just fine. I'm living proof. And so you go through each dial as you tune it, and I will show how to do this. When we switch cameras here, and I'll show people how to tune a device, just to give people an idea how they work. But with that said, you can go through these devices, tune it for what it is you're trying to do. Just envision the end results in your mind of what it is you want to do. And after you finish tuning all nine dials on, or whatever however many dials your machine has, uh, you just let it do its thing. And just kind of set it and forget it. And I don't know why somebody's keep continually getting to me on Telegram. I should not be that popular. All right. Anyway, so we go through all this stuff, and once you do all this, it takes over. It's autonomous from that point on. It does what needs to be done without any further regard of what's going on, or from the operator. I just set it and let it do its thing. I did the hard lifting. I set the thing for what it is I wanted, and I projected my energy into this. And the secret to my machines, or I think a lot of them use them, some of them don't. It just depends on who the manufacturer. I use quartz crystal in my machines, and
Mhm.
they're also wrapped around. They have magnetic wire around them, and there's a reason for this. Quartz stores information, and also it's electric, electromagnetic, piezoelectric. You can drop a quartz crystal in a dark room, and you can see it spark. It gives off, it gives off electricity, and so that right there, it happens to be the perfect material to interface with these radionic circuitries, because it's able to store that information and able to let the machine do its job.
Mhm.
Just a little side note.
Dr. Mulder, this may be um, a different kind of question.
Sure.
What would vary how many dials you have on your machine?
Oh, that's a good question, by the way. Great question. It depends. A lot of it depends on your budget. For example, a $3 machine, which is what I started out with, uh, it did fine. It did fine. But I noticed that when you make the circuitry more sophisticated, when you put more, it's kind of like adding more RAM to a computer. Okay, the more, it doesn't bog down. It's got all the resources it needs to carry on and make this thing work properly. But will a $3 machine work? Yes. Will a $9 machine works? Yes. With a $12 machine, which is the maximum I've ever gone, because I think when you get over $12, you're starting to reach the point of you uh, what they call when it zero. You're starting to get the return. The juice isn't worth the squeeze, so to speak. But right there, right there, the when you're able to do all this thing, or get the perfect balance in the circuitry, and it's sort of an art. I have to admit, it's not really a science, it's more of an art. But once you get the balance in the circuitry and you get it just right, and it's off to the races. And I kind of like to look at these machines sort of like the Stradivarius. For example, A lot of people try to copy Stradivarius. They try to use the same wood, the same dyes, the same finishes, the same, the parts identical to the Stradivarius. And at the end of the day, it never was a Stradivarius. Didn't come close. It was missing that magic. Whatever that magic was, that it factor, it was missing. And I think when I deal with these machines, and because of some of the things I've done, I consider proprietary. I'm able to give it that it factor, and I think that's my advantage. Plus, I'm able to sell them at a very reasonable price compared to my competition.
Yeah. Yeah, I know
Thanks.
on the Mark 12 that I had, the Mark 12 radio computer I had, I think it was 28 dials on it,
Hmm.
and one will be tuned. You we would go through all of them to you tune it to a general image, and then you fine tune it as you go through them.
Hmm.
And yeah, maybe you have one there that you could show what some of these look like.
Huh.
Oh, sure. Let me go ahead and switch cameras if you don't mind, and I'll make the same thing happen. All right. Hang
Okay.
on one
Okay.
second. All right, here we
Yeah.
go. Here's a
There you go.
machine. This is a machine. This is my reason why I love this particular design. I sell more machines of this design than any other model I make, and the reason why I do is because it's just balanced. Okay, it has 9 dials. I don't know why, but the I have everything. The geometry and everything just works. It just has, to me, for me personally, has the right amount of symmetry to it, and so this is what I use, and I sell different machines, different variations that look like this. But the thing is, it's not what it looks like on the outside; it's what's on the inside. And this is my I call this the Quantum 2 Junior. I specifically designed this machine to do everything all my other wishing machines do, but it's got that is but it's specially designed where it can also interface radionically with a quantum computer, and that's the one we're showing today. And let me go ahead and turn on this light. If I don't know if that's too if that's too distracting or not. But uh,
Mm.
but anyway, that's what this thing looks like. And matter of fact, I pre-tuned this machine before we got on here for us to have a great show. So far, it seems to be working. And
Mhm.
and so but what I can do, if you like, would you like me to show somebody people a general demonstration as to how to tune a machine? Would you like me to do that for them, or would you like to discuss more about it?
Why don't you talk yourself through how you would go about, let's say there was a healing at a distance. Let's say somebody had a heart problem. How would you go about for the machine to be able to help that person?
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I don't discuss health and radionics inside the United States because it's illegal here. A lot of radionic operators have gone to prison for that kind of a thing. And so I
Yeah.
refuse to do it. But I can do something else. Let's do something a little bit more mundane. Let's do something like easily pay a car repair bill. This is an everyday problem. And when I say this about when it comes to health, you can talk about it. It's entirely up. That's fine with me. And what I always suggest to people when they ask me about health issues and radionics, I just tell them Google health and radionics, and you will find a wealth of information because those operations work just the same as you would paying your car repair bill. But
Mhm.
I mean, again, I'm sorry to be kind of stern about that. But see, Dr. Abrams, he was the creator of radionics. He was the first inventor of the first radionics device, and he had a lot of legal problems because he was using radionics in his practice, and they almost put him in prison. And that was back around in the 1914, 1915.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
if we
also
were
mention something about how this could be for the farmers out there.
okay,
How
sure.
could they use this to substitute maybe a little bit in regard to pesticides?
Oh, sure, sure. That's an easy one to do. Okay, first off, you need two things. We're gonna call this satellite image. I'm gonna just put sat and then put I. Okay, what this is going to just go on Google or whatever and get a print off the wherever the property is that you want to be have the insects either die or move or relocate. You don't really care. All you want them is away from your crops. Okay, so you get that. That's going to be the first thing you need. The second thing you're going to need is, and it depends on if you want to try to kill them or just have them move. I mean, you can put an insecticide, something that represents insecticide of your choice. Let's see. Let me get something here. Get blank. Okay, there we go. Right here. Something that represents insecticide, and we'll just put an I in C or I in S. Insecticide.
Insect. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, insecticide, whatever. Okay, and what you will do is you're going to tune this thing with the intention of these insects leaving from your location that's on a satellite printout that's on where your crops are located at, and have them relocate or die or whatever your intention is. Whatever the what I normally say is I want these insects to leave my crops uh, this or something better. Always leave it open end. Let the universe sort it out for you. Again, we're not just playing by ourselves. Whenever we're dealing with a radionics device, we're dealing with the entire universe. So just think in your mind whenever you tune this, I want these insects to leave my crops this or something better. And I'm going to go ahead and do it this way as I turn this so you can kind of see the speed of it. And I simply take my thumb. This is how I do it. Other people may do it differently. But I take my thumb and I go across it. And as I tune it, I get a stick. And a stick is what is it's sort of a tactile reaction from this from the stick plate, and it's sort of a dowsing. I look at it as dowsing. You could have like rods, or you could have a pendulum above here, and do the same identical thing as going across the plate and getting this tactile reaction. And people may ask, well, what does a stick feel like? And it's real simple. You take your finger, you lightly moisten it, and you go across the plastic. And as you do this, you'll feel a resistance. You'll feel a drag. And that is exactly what a stick will feel like, that reaction that will get from the machine. So let's go to the next one. I'm going to try to do it this way so you can see. Keep going through. Right. All right, done. And you take the satellite image, which is the target where you want this intent to go to. You put that on the output plate, and you're done. That's simple. That's simple. And what you've done, you've projected your intent into this machine. Also, you already know in your mind where this location is at, where the target is at. You already have the intent of what it is that you're trying to change in your reality, not reality, your reality, which is for your crops to be insect free and they're undamaged, and you harvest them and you're able to take them to the market and make money. That's the chain of events here. So you're witnessing all of this, and that's how I do it. And I've been doing this for many thousands of times. I can't even tell. I probably tuned machines at least 20,000 times in my
Mm.
in my lifetime. I've done this so often. So
Yeah.
anyway, that's an example. Does that help illustrate how this works for you?
Yes, that was fascinating. So you have to have a certain degree of awareness, right, on that tactile plate. You have
Mhm.
to really be present and focused.
Correct.
Mhm.
Correct. Exactly. And that's the whole idea. I try to hold in my mind not again, not the journey, not all the little things that have to occur in order for this to happen. I just think about what is the end results that I'm trying to accomplish. Once I have that in mind, I'm off to the races. And like I said, I'm able to keep that, focus as I turn these dials. I'm able to keep that outcome that I'm seeking every time I touch a dial. And that's how it works. And I know some people may think, oh yeah, what I love about this is the simplicity. That's what I love about it, is simplicity. It's I like to give the analogy that yes, you can walk down the street to the store, or you could drive down to the street or drive down the street to the store. The end result is the same. One is just faster and more convenient than the other. And that's how I look at these. They're nothing more than tools. There's nothing magical about them. There's no great mystery about them as far as I'm concerned. They're just tools that you can use to change your reality.
Hmm.
Amazing.
Yeah. I know this sounds ridiculously simple,
Please.
and it really can be. For those of you out there that are sitting there looking at this and say, nah, uh, yeah, it does work. And when I had mine back in Omaha, when we were experiment, we were able to cure a cold in a matter of hours. And I remember
Mhm.
one time somebody had an infection in a tooth, and we worked on him in the evening, and we all decided, yeah, this is going to go away by morning, and by golly, it did.
Mhm. Mhm.
We tuned it to, actually, we didn't use a picture of anything. We just mentally visualized the tooth. And I think we put something in the well. I think we put saliva on something in the well, and that may have had something to do with it, but it went away overnight. So, yes, these kinds of things do happen, even though it looks really, really too simple.
Yes, and that's what I found. That's what I found intriguing about this, and it led to me. You know, and of course, I had the question as I was building these things. I was starting to sell them. People were asking, "Well, how does this darn thing work?" I had to give them what I consider a scientific answer or a logical answer or something that was in a physics textbook somewhere. And so I set a machine just for that. And
Yeah.
within a week and a half, 2 weeks, I saw a little 5 minute uh, cartoon. I think it was Dr. Quantum, and he was talking about the double slit experiment. And basically,
Yes.
what that shows is that when matter is not observed or measured, it behaves like energy. It's sort of like in a superposition. It's here, but it's not here. Okay, and it exists, but it doesn't exist. But when we walk into the room and we flip that light, it goes back into existence.
Yeah.
And that's how, and that right there I said, okay, what these things are, they are observers. I'm putting in my intent. It is observing physical reality, and as a result of the observer effect, that is the reason why we were able to get physical changes.
Hmm.
So your intention, right? Your end result is for the insects to have left your crop, and then as you dial the frequency, would this be entanglement? Would this be quantum entanglement?
I would say so. I would say so. I've there was an experiment that I got to witness, and they had a hologram or a hologram, and this guy was able to take a tiny piece of that hologram, and it retained the image of the whole. In other words, whatever information was that was in that hologram, no matter how small of a piece you took from it, that small piece would maintain all the information that was in the whole. So that meant that they were entangled. And plus, you've heard of spooky action at a distance, where they're able to take two particles, they resonate with each other, and you could take one to any distance. It doesn't make any difference. You affect one, the other one immediately shows the reaction of that other particle being affected. So everything's interconnected. And I would say, and what is the interconnection? And the bottom line is, I think it's consciousness.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Isn't it?
Speak,
Isn't it all?
yeah. Speak a little bit to the wishing machine. It's just a cute word, but there's something behind it. What, when people get one of those, is it pretty simple for them to use it? And what do they normally use it for?
Oh, this is very simple. Yes, I designed this when I first started working with Joshua. we realize that the demographic of the people that were listening to the show, they don't have $5,000, $10,000 to go buy one of these high dollar these expensive radionics devices. Yeah, they're great machines. They're high quality. They're built well. I mean, there's no problem with that at all. But still, they are thousands and thousands of dollars. What we wanted to do was present people with a working device. We didn't say it was the best in the world. At the time, it wasn't. But what we're trying to do is give people a working device that would not break the bank. I think Josh sells these machines for as low as $200. I mean, it won't have the electronics to it. It won't have all of the things that are inside the circuit, inside of the device as a what I have here, but it will be a basic machine. It will get you in the game. You will be able to do things with it. You then make things happen that normally would not happen. And so that again, getting back to your question, we're trying to keep this thing simple. Also, I have videos to show you step by step how to tune a machine. I even talk about the stick. I even, we go into like various ways of using, say, a pendulum. If you can't get a stick, try a pendulum. A lot of people are able to use that method if the old school method of trying to get that stick on the plate doesn't work for them, they can use a pendulum and they will get a reaction and it works just as well.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing you asked was, what do people normally use these machines for? Well,
Yeah.
we always had an old joke, and I'm not going to say that because, but I think you can figure it out. Uh, Three things they wanted: they wanted to get paid, they wanted romance, and they wanted justice. Okay, they wanted a relationship. Yeah, it was always one of those three things. It was 80-20 rule too, by the way. It was between the romance, a romantic partner, and money or financial type wishes. That was
Mhm.
80% of it. The other 20% of it was justice. In other words, they may have uh, they may have had like a lawsuit or something going on and they just want justice. Somebody in some way may have damaged or took property from them or damaged them in some way, and they just want everything to work out. They want the perpetrator to have their day in court, and they want to be made whole again from what was taken from them. And people would say, well, isn't that like revenge? No, revenge is entirely a different thing. Revenge is built on evil. Justice is built on light. Those are two different things. But you
Mhm.
see, the end result's the same, but it's the attitude.
So if a person wanted a romantic relationship, they wouldn't necessarily have an image of the person, right? They would more have the feeling of the way that they want the relationship to be, or would they have the physical characteristics?
Okay, it depends on how far you want to go with this. What you could do, you could easily get a celebrity that sort of matches the things that you're looking for in physical attributes, for example. Next, you could write down they're compassionate, they're loving, they're a good cook, that kind of a thing. Very nurturing, so they would make a great mother for children. The kind of things you're looking for. And you always say this or something better. And I always warn people, never use this machine for a particular person. Because how many times in our lives have we had a crush on somebody or we're very fond of that person, and then you finally get to know them and you realize, ooh, what did I see in this individual?
Right,
I mean, how many
right.
times, and so, but you wish for this or something better and let the universe sort it out for you.
Mm.
So, in other words, real simple. You could say, "I'll just cross this out. We'll just start with something. I make this operation real easy. Um, okay, we'll just say me, and then I can say have something that says, a romantic partner, and then you put down all the attributes that you're looking for, A, B, C. Just kind of keep it reasonable, where you don't make it,
Yeah.
don't overwhelm yourself. Put things on there, and you go through the protocol of all this. The perfect person for me, and you go through all your steps. Perfect person for me. This or something better. And once you do that, you take the thing that represents you and you put that on the plastic output plate, and the thing that represents what you're looking for, you leave that on the input plate and let the universe do its job.
How long do you leave it on?
Great question. Great question. Now, this is something that I've people have asked. That's a common question. By the way, you have great questions too. I'm not joking. I'm being sincere. Uh, the thing is, you ask yourself, how this is how I do it. Okay, is it 1 day? Is it 2 days? Is it 3 days? Is it 4 days? Okay, I got 4 days. Is it 4 days and 1 hour? 4 days, 2 hours? 4 days, 3 hours? 4 days and five, six, 6 hours. 4 days and 6 hours. Okay, so in order for this operation to work on this particular thing, according to this device, it will have to leave it running the way it is, okay, for 4 days and 6 hours. Okay,
Wow.
and after 4 days and 6 hours, you can time it, log it in. You can check your device again and say, has my machine, does it need to run longer? Or has it run? Is this operation in play, or is it about ready to, or have we done everything that's necessary? And you'll get a yes or a no answer, and just keep it simple, yes or no's. That's all.
Fascinating. Fascinating.
Well, this looks an awful lot more simple than the one I had with 28 dials, because that was a learning curve. And here and 5% of the price, I mean, just 30
Yeah.
years ago. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, this is really simple. But even though simple, you told me a story of something that you helped happen. They were drought for a very long time over in Kuwait, and you
Well,
helped create rain over there. So tell us that story because it shows you the power of the machine.
okay. Well, here's what happened. It wasn't a drought. I mean, it's a desert, so it's been a drought for quite a few years over there. But I had a client who had a legal issue that I was trying to help with, and it always seems like every time we got close to having this issue resolved, something would happen. Something would get in the way, and um, and she was starting to get a little discouraged, and she said, "This radionic stuff doesn't work for me." And I, asked her this simple question. I said, "How many times does it rain where you're at over in Kuwait?" And she said, "Oh, we might get a couple of spring showers." And she said, "Brad, I live in a desert." I said, "I understand, not a problem." So, as a practical joke, and again, as a practical joke, I decided to tune the machine for it to rain where she was located at in Kuwait. So I went ahead and set this up. I didn't know how it's going to happen. I had a couple of, if I did a video on this. I had some special equipment that I used in conjunction with this to make this thing happen. But I set the machines and also using a world map to as a location because I didn't have a satellite photo at the time. And I just thought it looked kind of cool. Anyway, I set the machine for it to rain there. Here's what happened. 2 weeks later, they had apparently they were having major monsoons or a major rain season over in India, and that storm front crossed from India over into the Persian Gulf and immediately went north on the Persian Gulf and dumped between 6 to 12 inches of rain where she was located at. Never seen anything. I got videos of this on my YouTube channel. You have all these Kuwaitis that are looking at basically their streets are now rivers, and they have all these cars that are floating down the river, and they're just like going, "What in the world is going on here?" And so, but the point of that is that was turning a few dials, and then of course I got on the phone and I said, "So what do you think?" And she said, "That is not very funny because her entire parking lot of her apartment building was flooded and she couldn't go to her job." And so, oh yeah, but and I did a couple other little things too. I have a friend of mine who's in the military who was deployed over in Kuwait, coincidentally. And what I decided to do was to see if I can make it snow. And they were over there at Christmas. So, I thought it'd be a dreaming of a white Christmas type of thing. And I set it to snow. And let's see. They said, according to the papers, this happened, I think, in December the 27th of 2022. And I even have the video of that. They said this is the first time in recorded history that it snowed in Kuwait. And they were wrong. I made it snow again, or made it snow the first time was in 2016 in Kuwait. That was the first time I made it snow over in Kuwait. But I did that. I was able to do these, but this one was more documented. Where at the time I went more public about what I was doing, and just want to see if I could make it happen. And as it did happen, I thought, okay, it didn't hit the 25th of December. Oops, I messed up. Didn't happen on the
Uh,
26th, but on the 27th, but on the 27th, it immediately started. It started raining or started snowing over in Kuwait. And so, but do I know exactly? Is it just pure coincidence, or did I project my intent into my reality? And my reality is snowed over in Kuwait on the 27th of December. Okay, I don't know who else's reality it was snowed in, but it snowed in mine for sure. So,
yeah. I
okay, let's see.
remember hearing videos and stuff about the snow in Saudi Arabia. That, of course,
Oh,
and that was not long ago. I mean, I think it was early this winter, or was it the last one? I'm not sure. But it hadn't done that for almost 100 years.
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No,
Oh, that's it.
but yeah, it makes me wonder. Okay, is that weather manipulation? By the three-letter agencies, and I just happened to hit, be lucky, and everything was synchronistic. I don't know. I have no idea. But all I know is this is what I wanted, and this is what happened.
Yeah.
I didn't care.
Mhm.
Again, I didn't care about the journey. All I cared about was the destination.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Can you, are there other success stories that maybe can raise eyebrows that you want to talk about?
Oh, other success stories. Hmm. I have quite a few. Let's see. I'm trying. You kind of got me on. Yeah, I like to talk about little mundane things. Like average life things. Here's one. Here's an interesting one. I think people might find kind of unusual. All right. Matter of fact, this was the same woman. I play a lot of golf, not as much as I used to because of my job. I don't have the time like I used to have. I played a lot of golf, and there was a woman there who was a widow who had a she and her husband had this beautiful home over in Greenwood, South Carolina. It was a beautiful home, right off the golf course. Yeah, 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 and she could not sell the darn thing. And she said, I put a lot of money into this thing to have it remodeled and to get it, where it just looks it's immaculate. But I can't find any buyers. I said, here's what you need to do. Give me a picture of the front of the house, the address of your house, what you're trying to sell it for, and I'll go from there. Now, in the real estate industry, you've probably heard this. You can look this up. It seems to be very popular. If they have trouble selling a piece of real estate, they will buy a, statue of Saint Joseph at the local Catholic supply store, and then they will take that statue and dig a hole next to the for sale sign and bury it upside down, and then they'll say a little prayer. You can find this anywhere on the internet, and they'll say a little prayer, and for whatever reason, that sells houses. Well, what I did was I got something off the internet that represented Saint Joseph, and along the address and the details of the house. I put these two things together on the copper plate. I went through my little magic here. This house was selling at a fair price or at the best price possible. I think it's how I worded it. At the best price, this house sells at the best price possible and as soon as possible. This or something better. So I go through my motions here. I immediately take the thing. I left St. Joseph on the copper plate, and I took the thing that represented the house, put that on the plastic plate, let it go, and I think within 2 to 3 weeks she had an offer for the home, and I think within a month and a half, I think it was a month and a half, the thing closed.
Oh. Wow.
These are little things that happen all the time. I've had people who have wished for the lottery, use these things to win the lottery. Does it happen? Yes, but here's the problem with the lottery. There, it goes back to that variable thing we were discussing before. You have so many people out there with the same intent, if not stronger than yours, to win that lottery, who are thinking and breathing and whatever that Powerball is going to hit for me. They go to psychics, they light a candle, they say their prayers, whatever, for those numbers to hit, so they can win that Powerball. Well, you have all of that against you, and you set a machine against all of these other people, against all this other energy that's wanting the same identical thing as you do, you're fighting against it. Will this increase your odds of winning the Powerball? Of course. Will it guarantee you winning the Powerball? No. You'll probably get closer to it. You'll probably get those variables will probably get closer to the end game of you winning that Powerball or winning that lottery, but that does not guarantee it. What I suggest to people when they gamble, and I even asked Joshua P. Warren, he lives in Las Vegas, so he knows all about gambling. He's been around it, and he's has his own way of doing things magically. I'm using air quotes here, magically on the in the casinos to create the probabilities of his winning better than it would without. And he says the best thing for, especially for a beginner with these machines, tune the machine for luck and for to win in gambling. But when you go to the casino, do not deal with other people. Like, don't be at the poker table or at the craps roulette where you got other people that are there that are interacting with that very same game. It's the best thing to do is go to an electronics machine, like the electronic poker machines, slot machines,
Yeah.
whatever they have. Deal with those because you're not dealing with other people's intent. You're dealing with the house's intent, which is to win. They want you to lose, but what you're doing is you're eliminating those variables of other people's intent.
Yeah. And I want to touch on something in regard to this so people do not understand what they could use it for.
Mm-hmm.
This is intended to be used for the good of all. But
That,
there may be a people that don't feel that way. Maybe they have other thoughts that maybe not maybe negative in nature. But remember, the universe always strives to establish balance. If you use a machine like this for someone's detriment, the balance will come back to you tenfold. So this is something that I don't know if you have built any safeguards into it, but maybe you could say something about that because the universe
okay.
can be ruthless when you do something that is negative.
Yes, and that's the reason why we discussed earlier the difference between revenge and justice. Okay, revenge is evil. It is on the it is demonic in nature. If you want to go that, if you want to go into that part of the way things are, revenge is demonic in nature. Okay, but justice is angelic. It is different. Justice is an entirely different thing. So you always go for justice. You do not go for revenge. Yeah, yes, we've all had people cut us off in traffic and whatever, and you want to give them the bird, and and you're saying a lot of you have a lot of colorful language about their driving skills as you're behind the wheel looking at them with with a very very upset look on your face. Yes, we all have been there. We've all done that. But the point of it is, do not go for revenge. Go for justice. That's my biggest
Yeah.
thing. And have I dealt with people who have used these machines for evil? Yes, I have. I've worked with them. Matter of fact, I looked at this as I was very pragmatic about it. I was trying to take a scientific viewpoint. I'm sure that I have my own biases whenever I was dealing with these people. Did I have them? Of course I did. Of course I did. I did what they were doing. It didn't really resonate with me, and I'm just putting that lightly. But I did want to observe them. I did want to observe them using these machines for their purposes. I believe in free will. What you do, that's between you and your creator. What you do.
Yeah.
And
Got it.
so yeah, and so they did this. Yeah, and here's what I've noticed, almost to the T, almost to the person. Yes. Do they get short-term gain by doing these what we would consider these revenge type rituals, this chaos magic or whatever? Short term, yeah. Do they get what they want? Of course they do. But you know what happens? It always gets taken back plus interest. Plus interest. They're always in worse shape afterwards. Even though they win, temporarily win, it's taken away from them and they always go back into something. It's usually, I think, alcoholism or substance abuse.
Ooh,
And that's what I've
well,
noticed about that site.
yeah,
Just my personal observations.
I see we're down towards the end of the show here, about 4 minutes left. Let people know where they can get a hold of you and can get a hold of more information about the machine or even get one.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, for people who want to start out small, if you have a limited budget or you just want to, dip your toe into the water, go to wishingmachineproject.com, wishingmachineproject.com. That is a website that Joshua P. Warren has there. We have machines from $200 all the way up to, I think, $450 on that site. If if you want to go into something more advanced, you can simply go to radionicpower.com, radionicpower.com. And if you want to interested in talking to me about this, it will have my email there, or you can write a message to me. I'll get it through my email, and we can correspond. And I can answer your questions. But the best thing, if you really want to learn more about this, before which what I try to do is constantly bring new intent, new content, excuse me, and new information on how to use these machines. Go to my YouTube channel, the Dr. Mulder Show, the Dr. Mulder Show on YouTube, and you can go through all my videos. I talk about all these things we're talking about tonight. I go into my viewpoints on reality and all those good things, and I think that will give people a lot of good basic information on how to use radionics devices.
Good. Can they find you on Facebook too?
Yes, is the real Dr. Mulder. The real Dr. Mulder. Not the fake Dr. Mulder, but the real Dr. Mulder.
Okay. Oh gosh. Well, w- oh, I have a question for you. And yeah, let me ask you this. If you could talk to the whole world and the world was listening, what would you tell them?
That they are sovereign and that they are more powerful than they ever thought they could be. It reminds me of a story I heard about about this guy that had a duck, and the duck never flew, and because they always kept it caged, and it just never. And the thing about it is, it got to the point that yeah, it would walk around the yard, but it never fly. And the point of it is, it could have flown away from there anytime it wanted to. It just didn't realize it had wings.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, and for those of you watching and listening out there, I know that this may have been a little confusing to some of you, but I've had some experiences and we did some really neat things with it, like creating vitamin water out of distilled water and helping people get rid of colds and stuff like that. So I know it works. And that's why I'm totally in support of what he's doing. So just take that and remember and go get some more information. Chances are that this can help you. So, gosh, Nori, we're down to the end here.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mulder. It was a pleasure um, hearing all of your information. It was very fascinating. And thank you to all of our viewers. And if you're watching this on the replay, thank you also. Thanks, Aage. Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. Much love, everybody.
Now, yeah, and if you like what you heard, please subscribe. This